Hey everybody. So you know that Tammy's not here because my hair's a mess, right? But you know what? It doesn't matter because you're not here to find out who my beautician is, because if you were, you wouldn't be using them anyway. All right, here we go. So puppies that are 1 to 2 weeks old, somebody's asking, they're not pooping, why is this happening? Well, typically because they're constipated. Well, they're not pooping because they're constipated. They're constipated because they're dehydrated. Why are they dehydrated? Maybe because of the consistency of mum's milk. But the fix is fairly simple. Give them an enema. What I do is I take a cup of warm water, I put 3 or 4 drops of Dawn dishwashing soap or any dishwashing soap in it. I then suck that up into a 12 cc syringe and I gently blow that up their butts. And you can do that 2 or 3 times a day and get them rocking and rolling. No downside to that. And just, you don't put it in there and force it, you just put it in there and just gently squeeze it and come dribbling out. And some of it won't come out for a while, and hopefully when it comes out it'll be kind of a poopy mess. Somebody's asking about the dog's first heat, should they breed the dog? If the dog's over a year old, yeah, probably. If the dog's under a year old, no, definitely not. So we like to wait, typically second heat, which occurs after they're a year old. Some dogs don't have their first heat until they're a year and a couple of months, and go ahead and breed those dogs. They're also asking over-the-counter medication to help boost their immunity. Yeah, well, good luck on this one. Look, there's all kinds of medications out there for both humans and dogs that'll make all kinds of outrageous claims that can't be proven. If there was something out there that was just reliably going to boost your immunity, we'd all know about it, we'd all be taking it, and we'd have been taking it for a long damn time. So I think the only thing that makes any sense, that I know is not harmful, that makes some sense, is to give a good quality vitamin. So a pet tab, give that according to the directions on the pet vitamins that you get. Certainly if a dog is pregnant, then give it 5 milligrams of folic acid every day. And if the dog's getting a problem with its gut, a probiotic is fairly harmless as well. So those are the things that I think make some sense. Someone's asking about how do you find out about our studs. You go to www.lovemypups.com. There's a link there that says Frenchy Sires. Link on that, it'll list all the dogs with their prices and their stats and videos and pictures of those dogs, and there's 20 of them. Here's an interesting one. Someone is asking about, is there a temperature change during heat for dogs? Certainly with humans we do see this, and you see people trying to time when they're going to try to have a baby based on temperature. So I don't know anything about that in terms of dogs, but there could well be a link on this, and I will go look and see if I can find a thing. But there are some interesting things that I haven't talked about before. One of them is ferning. So if you look at the saliva as it dries out on a microscope slide, you're going to have the microscope to do this, you will see it drying out into a fern-like pattern. And this does happen with human beings, and I have seen it in dogs. I haven't gone very far with trying to, since now I have progesterone machines, I just use progesterone. But other people who may have done this might chime in on this, and I might just do this on another few dogs just to see if I can get anywhere with it, because the more information you have about where a dog is in its heat cycle, the more chances are that you'll be successful. Somebody wants to know about inbreeding and line breeding. I've done a video on this. So the first thing is, what is inbreeding and line breeding? Inbreeding is where you're breeding siblings to parents. Line breeding is where you're breeding siblings to grandparents and great-grandparents. Why would you do this? Because you've got some attributes in this particular dog and this line of dogs that you want to get more of it. And so, you say, okay, this dog here, the grandparent, pass these genes on to this dog right here, the baby this dog that I'm going to breed. Let's breed those two together and try and reinforce those good genes that we got. And that's fine. The problem is you're also going to reinforce the bad genes that quite likely both of them have got. Those bad genes, what they call recessive genes, normally would not crop up as a pair when you take this dog you're going to breed with some completely different dog with a completely different lineage. But if you go to a dog that's directly related to it, then there's a very good chance that some of these bad genes could line up and they can have really bad consequences. So my advice to you is this: if you are in the show ring And you've got a darn good reason why you're prepared to risk the outcome of some of the puppies, the detriment of some of the puppies, for the quality of a puppy you might produce. Have at it. But just realize that when you do this, that you have a fairly reasonable chance, a much greater chance than would be normal, in having a dog or puppies that have some severe problems that might end up in something where the puppies don't make it. And I'll say one other thing about this while I'm here. A lot of you in the breeding ring don't like this idea of doing things like blue dogs or whatever, but you know, you just can't use that as an excuse when you're prepared to line breed, because line breeding is so much more dangerous than any of these things to do with, for instance, that you think that a blue dog has got some genetic quality that's going to cause a problem. So there's going to be people who are going to come back at me on this. I know this. I'm prepared for it. And if we want to have a discussion about it, do it in a civil manner. But all I'm saying is, I don't think that line breeding and inbreeding is something that you should do unless you've got a really good reason and you realize what the consequences are. So that didn't mean to be a lecture, but there it is. Okay, let's have a look here. What's this one? I don't have Tiny's phone, so I have to read all this. Is no tail an issue? So you can have what's called an inverted tail, or a tail that you just don't see a tail on the dog at all. In fact, you've got an innie rather than an outie there. And so they're asking, why is that a problem? Mostly because the tail is in there and you can get a pocket right by the anus that then gets mucked, doesn't get cleaned out, and the dog can start to have infections of its anus. That's the reason why. Not that big a deal. You can certainly clean it up by hand with a wipey, but I mean, you know, you just do not have it. But there are other things that I'd be a lot more concerned about than an innie tail. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.